In this week's African Agri Overview, Jacques will focus on the Malawian Maize Market, which remains very unpredictable, and what he expects can happen going forward. All in this week's episode, so make sure to stay tuned. Hi, I'm Dr. Johnny van der Merwe and welcome to this week's African Agri Overview. Make sure to follow us on YouTube, where we will share regular insights into the agricultural markets of Africa. For more detailed information and reports, however, on the African markets and the sub-Saharan African soft commodity markets in particular, please make sure to contact Jacques. In the economy, the Malawian exchange rate remained sideways and very stable on 1,014 kwachas per US dollar, while the Brent crude oil price remained at $77 per barrel. The possible recession still puts a lot of pressure on demand, but at the end of last week, we saw some risk premiums that came back into the oil market, which caused prices to increase again. But with that said, let's listen to Jacques and his views on the Malawian maize market.
In this week's podcast, we look at the Malawi maize market. Malawi ran out of maize last season, and indications they are likely to be a net import of maize once again this season. What makes this maize market rather unpredictable is the fact that government, for all practical purposes, have a permanent export ban and very seldom issues permits to import. This stimulates volatility and prices often overshoot the up and downside. This history graph shows how the price have fluctuated between $130 and $400 a ton during the last 18 years. Whatever is imported or exported is mostly informal or smuggled. Before we continue, it is important to note that Malawi has for many years experienced a forex shortage which complicates imports. There are two exchange rates. The formal exchange rate, currently at 1,030 Malawi kwacha to the US dollar, as determined by the government, and the black market rate at 1,600 Malawi kwacha to the US dollar, the more realistic rate and the rate we use. As always, note that all numbers used in our tables and graphs are our best estimates given information at our disposal and should be seen as such. This graph indicates our Malawi balance sheet estimates during the last 5 years and our forecast for this year. Given Malawi's porous borders with Mozambique, Zambia and Tanzania, estimates of informal imports and exports are guesstimates at best. It is our view that Malawi very seldom has mentionable ending stocks. Even in healthy crop years, the excess stock disappears across the borders. During 2022-23, Malawi produced a small surplus, production of about 3.2 million tons versus consumption of around 3 million tons. However, Tanzania became a net importer of maize around August-September 2022 on the back of a poor local crop, and it became extremely lucrative to move Malawi maize into southern Tanzania. By the time government started to police the northern border to curb informal exports, we guessed at least 300,000 to 400,000 tons had left, and suddenly the Malawi market realized they were looking at a deficit and prices reacted accordingly. We expect 2023-24 will be another net import year for Malawi. A smaller than normal crop expected due to less availability of subsidized fertilizer and the impact of Cyclone Freddy on the crop in the southern region. We estimate a crop of around 2.7 million tons and consumption at about 3 million tons. Informal imports from Mozambique and Zambia, together with potential maize meal imports from South Africa, should plug the deficit. Our contacts in Mozambique already reporting healthy informal exports to Malawi from the Malanje area, the southeastern Malawi border with Mozambique. The next graph shows price history of Malawian maize since January 2016 in Lilongwe and Blantyre. Let's look at the reason for the price outliers during the last 5 years. From May 2017 to April 2018, the blue circle on the left, maize prices traded at extremely low levels. A record crop was harvested mid-2017, but the export ban was never lifted, and in any case, there were few export opportunities. During November 2019 to February 2020, The red circle on the left, prices reached record high levels. An average crop was harvested mid-2019, but high prices in neighboring countries saw substantial informal exports, and by September-October 2019, the market realized Malawi will need material imports and prices spiked higher. By March 2020, the market realized supply was not as tight as expected, and at least a normal crop was expected to harvest mid-2020, and this saw prices adjust significantly lower in a short space of time, the green circle. Early April 2021, the market realized a bumper crop was expected to harvest mid-2021, and prices declined and remained at relatively low levels until July-August 2022, the blue circle on the right. From September 2022, prices started to trend higher as the Tanzania import campaign gathered momentum. By January 2023, the market realized despite the above-average crop harvested mid-2022, informal exports to Tanzania were completely underestimated, and imports would be essential once again to plug the deficit that was created, and prices spiked above $400 a ton, the red circle to the right. Since then, prices have come down to $270, $280 a ton as the early new crop commenced harvesting. The question is, where is prices heading during the next 6 months? Due to the below-average expected new crop, the market does not anticipate maize prices will slip much below $250 a ton during the harvest time from May to August. After that, prices could trend higher. The yellow shaded area on the graph shows our expected price range until year-end, between $250 and $300 a ton. A relatively high price range if one look at history. Informal exports to Tanzania in the next 2 months before their new crop harvest remains a possibility. Current maize price in southern Tanzania is around $450 a ton. Compare this with a longware price of around $270, $280 a ton, and one realized there is significant margins to be made short term. Substantial short-term exports to Tanzania could see Malawi prices move above $300 a ton towards the end of 2023. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jacques. Very insightful. For more detailed information and reports on sub-Saharan African soft commodity markets, please make sure to contact Jacques Pinaar. I'm Dr. Johnny van der Merwe, and thank you for watching.